How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
What up, what up, what up, everyone? Welcome to the cult. It is the cult. I know there's a typo on some streams because I set this stream up very quickly. So if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, you might see the cult. Sorry, I made a typo. Typos happen. But the show is called The Cult because on this show, most of what we do is we dig into the cult of the far left. And guys, I got to tell you, like I've been saying the left is a cult for years. I don't actually mean that in terms of just like I'm not trying to do a like unowning the libs thing. I actually think the left is a cult, and the reason I think the left is a cult is because they have created an insular ecosystem in which they only talk to each other. They only share their ideas. They don't interact with anyone they disagree with. If you try to disagree with them directly, they will not acknowledge you in any way. They're not capable of engaging in conversation that is critical of their work and critical of their ideas. And it's not a cult in a traditional sense in that there's no like leader of the cult. It's not Obama, I promise you. It is a decentralized movement. But that actually makes sense for the left when you understand that the left operates as a collective. It's like in the movie The Battleship Potemkin. Has anyone else seen? Did anyone else have to suffer through the movie that is The Battleship Potemkin? I took this English literature course in college, and I thought this was going to be a good course because like we were at Dracula, and then they made us read James Joyce, and James Joyce was deeply traumatic for me. I did not like James Joyce at all. And then they made us watch The Battleship Potemkin. And I actually thought The Battleship Potemkin was going to be kind of a cool movie. I was excited about it because I was like, it's about the Russian Revolution. I was like, okay, that's actually kind of cool because I was obviously a lefty in college. But I was like, that's actually kind of cool. And then we watched The Battleship Potemkin, and it's so awful and it's so boring and I hated it. And for people who don't know, The Battleship Potemkin is like a really old Russian movie. And the reason that I hated it is because there is no main character in the movie. The crowd, the mob, the collective that takes over the Battleship Potemkin is the main character. And, you know, when we're thinking about the left being a cult, I actually come back to maybe I should actually try to watch the Battleship Potemkin. Maybe we should actually, we can probably just watch the Battleship Potemkin on this channel. Maybe we should do that sometime because it is actually interesting and actually deeply insightful, isn't it? That in this movie that was made, it's like I think it's like a silent movie, right? It's a very old movie. in this movie that was made so long ago about the Russian Revolution, there was no main character, there was no hero, there was no villain, there was only the mob. That was it. That was the main character. And it's like, well, that's actually, in retrospect, I didn't understand this in college, but in retrospect, that was actually probably a pretty decent way to go about it. So yeah, the reason the show's called The Cult is because I believe that the left is a cult, and we are studying the cult, and this is about the culture war. And also occasionally I get accused of having a cult myself, because I do have a band of unhinged followers, or not unhinged. You guys are actually, my followers are actually the most hinged into reality people on the internet, I think. But I guess devoted, some might call them sycophants. It's okay to be my sycophant. I'm gonna, oh shit, I should make that should be a Valentine's Day t-shirt next year. Be my sycophant. That's actually a really good idea. Can someone remind me of that idea around Valentine's Day? Be my sycophant. That definitely wouldn't get me into any trouble on the internet, would it? No, it definitely, that would be, yeah, it is a good idea. I know. See, I have my cult-like followers around to tell me that all my ideas are great. And remember, you're never allowed to criticize me or tell me I'm wrong. At least that's what the internet tells me. That's what the unhinged retards on the internet tell me. Anyway, hey guys, we just did a spy stream. We only got done like half an hour ago. And I keep telling you guys this, if you missed the spy stream, you missed a really good one. Do you guys want to know what we watched for spy stream today? Because I'll just tell you, this isn't like the conference we did last week. Because it's already over. So this isn't like a multi-day infiltration. Do you guys want to know what we just watched for spy stream that I'm going to be releasing clips from in a little bit? I'll show you. We watched, and you can access this if you want. You can watch the replay. For Spy Stream today, we visited the West Coast Ivy of Stanford University. We watched a presentation in their Feminist, Gender, and Sexuality Studies department, specifically in a research institute they have into gender, where 3 trans activists and a good ally talked about how Trump is attacking trans people and hates trans people and is doing all these bad things for trans people. And we got some pretty good clips out of it, I have to say. There was a whole section where they were talking about abolish the family. There was a whole section where they were talking about parental rights. So we did actually get some good clips of this. I am going to be releasing those clips on the Substack. But this is the type of stuff that you miss when you don't come to Spy Stream. And I know, people might say, Karlyn, you only talked about Spy Stream an hour before you went live for Spy Stream. But I would say, no. This has been on the Decode the Left events calendar for 2 weeks. So if you guys were over on Decode the Left, that is decodetheleft.com, and go to the events calendar /events. This Spy Stream was scheduled a couple weeks ago. I've now created an events calendar so you guys can plan out in advance when you're going to join us for Spy Stream. We still got a couple more scheduled for right now. I'm going to work on refilling the Spy Stream bucket. I suspect we're going to have a lot of Spy Streams over the summer, if I'm honest about it, because of all the organizing, all the protesting, and stuff like that. So now we have a calendar, so you guys don't have any excuse to say, I didn't know there was a Spy Stream today because you didn't talk about it until an hour before. Well, you know what? I had it in my events calendar. Where were you? Okay. So no harm, no foul if you missed the Spy Stream. As always, you can always access, if you are a supporter on the Substack, on Locals, on Patreon, YouTube channel member, or Twitter subscriber, X subscriber, you can always access the replay on demand. So that option is available if you missed it. And you can always join us for future live Spy Streams. Now our next Spy Stream is going to be on Friday. It is going to be Friday, bright and early in the morning. You guys are making me get up early for Spy Stream. 11:30. Well, that's actually a little bit later than we were starting the Institute for Male Supremacism Spy Stream. So I suppose that's okay. I suppose it's fine. I will get up early so all of you can do Spy Stream. As my regular viewers know, I work until 3 or 4 in the morning. I am very much a night owl. I don't like getting up early because I work for 3 or 4 in the morning, and I am so productive at night, and then I sleep in because I work till 3 or 4 in the morning. Most of you guys aren't doing that, all right? Part of working for yourself is being able to build your own schedule, and that is the schedule that I built for myself that works well for me. You got up at 5. Oh man. Listen, I spent years of my life when I was commuting to Boston. I commuted to Boston to work at a consultancy for like 2 years. And the worst part of the commute to Boston was I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and go get on a bus. But I got very good at sleeping on the bus. Like I got very, very good at it. But like, man, that was painful. I never want to go. I had to get up at 4:30 every single morning. My husband and I were on opposite sleep schedules. So this is back in the day when he would stay up all night playing video games and like Call of Duty with his friends. And I would be like, Victor, I need to fucking go to bed at like 8 p.m. because I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. And then we switched at some point. And now my husband goes to bed early and I go to bed late, and it still all works out. Anyway, if you so we do have the spy stream on Friday. Come join us for that. How you join us for that is dun-da-da. You sign up for the Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. Sign up and become a member for $8 a month, $80 a year. Spy streams are almost always a supporter exclusive event. Almost always. We might be doing one tomorrow that I might do publicly, but almost always they are supporter exclusive because that actually cuts down on the likelihood that we are going to get found out and the event's going to get canceled. Spy streams used to be public. And then wouldn't you know it, these damn leftist organizations would find out that I streamed their training on the internet. And they would try to do copyright strikes against me, or they would cancel the event in the middle of the event. They just stop the event, or they'd kick us out, or any of these things. So I just find that it makes it a little bit of a safer environment. It makes it much more likely that I'm going to get the footage I need if we just limit it to people. So I limit it to people who have skin in the game. Supporters on my Substack, my locals, my Patreon, YouTube channel members, Twitter subscribers. If you're any of those things, you will be invited to Spy Stream, and you can access the Spy Stream we just did from Stanford University, which was pretty good. So that is that's that. Now today we are going to be gearing up. It's May Day. It's time. May Day is tomorrow. May 1st is otherwise known as May Day. May Day is the International Day of Resistance. And I think that May Day is not just going to be about May Day. I think that May Day is going to kick off the Summer of Love, where we're going to see protest after protest after protest after crazy shit after crazy shit after crazy shit. Maybe we'll even get a new Chaz in the city of Seattle. I really want a new Chaz. Can some leftist group please pop up a new Chaz somewhere? Because that would be great. I would love to go to a like an autonomous zone type environment just to visit. Maybe a leftist group in Boston can do that. The Boston Revolutionary Socialists are a thing. Maybe we should, can someone tweet at the Boston Revolutionary Socialists and be like, can you guys set up a Chaz at Faneuil Hall? Can you guys set up a Chaz on the Boston Common? Please, it's collective land. The Boston Common is explicitly collective land. Go set up an autonomous zone at the Boston Common. Go set up an autonomous zone at the, at the Boston Tea Party ship, at the pier right next to the Boston Tea Party ship. I don't know. But like that would be a pretty good place to set up a Chaz, because then I could just drive there and go visit and go and obviously go in disguise and all that stuff. Anyway, so today we're going to be watching a webinar that took place yesterday. This is another webinar sponsored by the National Education Association. So last week we did a spy stream where we went inside a webinar sponsored by the National Education Association. In that webinar, if you were over on the Substack, in that webinar, we got a sitting congresswoman on video telling thousands of radical activists to go publicly confront and harass their elected politicians. And I've got some other clips from this too that I just haven't had a chance to release yet because we've been doing so much that I have not had a chance to do it yet. But that was like the most inflammatory clip. This webinar was hosted by the National Education Association. The National Education Association is one of the main teachers' unions. It's led by a woman named Becky Pringle. And this is one of the main organizations, it seems, that's involved in organizing the nationwide May Day protests, which should really alarm everyone because this is an organization that teachers all over the country are a part of, and they are extremely, extremely, extremely leftist. Okay. Now, what's interesting is I just found this on some random YouTube channel that doesn't even have any subscribers. And I think this is another webinar that the National Education Association did yesterday. And I must have missed this because we were doing other things. But they did this yesterday. Now, I was scanning through it. And do you know what's interesting about it? I was like, is this the same thing we watched last week? I was worried. Is this the same webinar? And you know how I know it's not the same webinar? Hello, Becky Pringle. Hello, President of the National Education Association, on video yesterday talking about organizing the May Day protests. Hi, Becky. It's good to see you on this webinar when you're the president of the largest teachers union in the country talking about organizing the May Day protests. So that's pretty interesting that Becky wasn't on the last one. It was hosted by the NEA, but it was mostly hosted by the Chicago Teachers Union, which is also crazy, crazy radical socialists. But I think it's very bold and, dare I say, it is stunning and brave of Becky to be on video organizing mass nationwide protests as the head of the largest teachers union in the country. So we're going to watch this and we're going to see what happened. And there's other speakers too. And I don't really know exactly what to expect, but there's other speakers too in this. And guys, this is just one group that's organizing for the May Day protests. I want people to really be aware of this. So we're going to see two main bursts of protests this week. Tomorrow, and they are going to be protesting tomorrow, okay? They're actually in the webinar we watched last week, they made it a specific point to say that they were protesting during the week to prove that they could disrupt like corporate America. So they are absolutely going to be out protesting tomorrow. But then on Saturday, because it's a Saturday and it's the Saturday after May Day, we are going to see a whole bunch of other protests pop up. And like I said, this is not going to be just a one-time thing, okay? They're going to be protesting all summer long off of this. Laura Loomer tweeted earlier. She said it was Democrats, which was wrong. Actually, do I have the link? Do I have the link to the May Day protests? May Day protests. There was actually a website for this. Oh, not that website. Actually, let's look at this website too, though. This is maydaystrong.com. Join one of our 1,000+ May Day events. Look at this. This is what we're talking about, guys. May Day is a big deal for these people. Here's the other website I was looking for. This is a whole other website. This is not just one group. And by the way, this is not fucking Democrats. This is not Democrats. This is May Day Movement. And what this is basically they're starting a whole fucking month of protests on the National Mall. So you can go there and you can see this as well. And these are just a couple examples of the groups that are organizing for May Day. Let me go into New Hampshire. Let me see what's going on in New Hampshire. Let me see what's going on. Let me see. Why can't I click on these little circle things? Let's see. Oh, Derry, they're having a celebrating immigrants thing. May Day Strong, Sailors and Soldiers and Sailors Monument in Nashua. Okay, so there's something going on right near me tomorrow. That's in Concord. There's not something in Manchester? I'm kind of shocked there's not something in Manchester. What's going on down in Boston? Look at all these groups in Boston. Let's see. Maybe we will find out they're doing a Chaz. Speak out for justice. I'm going to have to look up all these organizations. Speak out for justice, equality, rights of working people. Boston May Day 2025. Workers should have the power, not the billions. Maybe I should just go to Boston tomorrow. Maybe I should actually just go to Boston tomorrow and cover the May Day protests. Cambridge, walk-in. Somerville, walk-in. Okay, these are just all walk-in things. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just go to Boston tomorrow. Give me some more information about this. What is this? Especially if the weather's going to be nice. It's hot as hell here, if I'm honest about it. It's really effing hot. We are demanding Mayday, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really have any information about what it is. But again, look at all these events. Look at all these events. This is like a crazy amount of organizing, guys. So we know that there's going to be massive protests. We know that these people are not effing around. And I just want to say too, like, if you're going to go to any of these things, please be smart and please be safe. Of course, like, I'm not going to tell anyone not to go to these things. Let me just change my setup here. I'm never going to tell you guys don't go to events. I think if you want to go to these events, if you want to see what's happening up close, you should absolutely go to these events. I think it's one of the most interesting experiences, at least for me, to go to leftist events because you feel like you're in an alternate reality. And it is a very odd experience. And I think everyone should experience that at least once. But what I want to say to people is if you're going to any of these events, please be smart and please be safe. Don't do what conservatives do, which is come in and you're wearing your MAGA hat and you're like, there are men and there are women and there are only two. Don't do what Billboard Chris does and try to go provoke fights with people in order to get video of them trying to fight you so that you get your ass kicked on the internet. Don't do that. The groups that we're looking at right now, these aren't even the Antifa groups that are organizing. Antifa is organizing as well all over the country, okay? A lot of the people who go to these protests, they are dangerous. It is a very, very, very real thing. And I know that people like to think that, oh, I'm going to get a video to go viral on the internet. Listen, man, I've been chased by a Black Lives Matter mob. It was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. And it's not something I ever would have done for social media clout. I have been undercover with these people for days at a time. I was legitimately terrified they were gonna figure out who I was and kick my ass the entire fucking time. Because these are violent people, okay? Not all of them are violent. I won't say 100% of leftists are violent. A lot of them are actually not violent. There's a lot of old hippies and stuff like that. But you really don't know. You have no idea. And I think a lot of them are unstable. I think a lot of them are on especially the ones that are on like the gender transition drugs and that do testosterone as like a party drug, because there are absolutely a significant number of queer people who literally do testosterone like as a party drug. And I have them on video saying this, they really do. And so you got to be careful around this. So if you're going to go, be smart, just keep to yourself. Don't cause any problems. Don't start any fights. Make sure you're taking pictures discreetly as much as you can. If you see literature like flyers or pamphlets or zines, make sure you pick them up. Take as much free stuff as you can so we can like archive all that later. That would be really great and helpful. But don't cause problems. You're not going to accomplish anything by causing problems. You're not going to accomplish anything by disturbing their event and pissing them off. And worst case scenario, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. And that's not good. And I don't want to be responsible for that in any way because people see me going undercover at these things or they hear me talk about it and they think it's cool. It is cool, but you have to be smart when you're doing it, okay? So everyone promise, if you're going to go to a May Day protest, don't be a retard, okay? You're not going to accomplish anything. The most important thing you can accomplish is by documenting what they're doing and exposing it on the internet, okay? I don't know why I felt the need to give that warning, but I felt very strongly. I wasn't planning on doing that. I felt very strongly that someone watching needed to hear that right now on whatever platform you're watching on. I'm looking at you. No fuckery. All right. See, this is where I become the mother of the internet. I'm like, they're like, Karlyn, you go do all this dangerous shit. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe, but I take precautions and I'm not an asshole when I do it. I take precautions, man. You guys don't even know. Anyway, so we are going to be watching this this webinar today, and we're going to hear what they had to say. One more quick thing before we get started, and I was reminded of this last week, I think. It's not just May Day, guys. It's not just May Day. Red May is back. Philip is back. Red May are some of our favorite socialists on the internet. Red May typically does actually really, really good socialist content. Last year's Red May was not good, Philip. I don't know what was going on with Philip last year. Maybe Philip had some personal problems. But last year's Red May was not good. However, this year's Red May actually looks like it's shaping up to be pretty decent. For people who don't know, Red May is a group of revolutionary socialists in Seattle, and every May they put together a treasure trove of content for us. And we are very, very, very lucky in that much of that content they stream on the internet. Not all of it, sadly. Sophie is doing a talk at a bookstore for Red May, and they're not streaming it. So we're going to have to find someone to go to Seattle to film Sophie, which we do actually know people in Seattle, Sophie. So, we can actually do that. And so let's look at the schedule. The theme is there must be some way out of here. And let's see their schedule. We've got May 3rd, Saturday. We might have to do Red May live on Saturday. What is that? 11 Pacific time. So that's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern time. We might have to do a special Red May kickoff on Saturday at 2 p.m. Philip loves it when I stream his presentations live. Philip, as you guys remember, he one time when we streamed a presentation actually with Sophie live from Red May, Philip got so pissed off that he threatened to give me a copyright strike. And then I gently reminded Philip that he doesn't believe that intellectual property should exist. And so if he gave me a copyright strike, he would be acknowledging that he doesn't actually believe in the things he says he does. And Philip never gave me that copyright strike, but he was really pissed off about it. And he didn't like us being in the chat, but I thought that we were perfectly reasonable in the chat. We weren't trying to disrupt his event. We were just asking him questions he didn't like, Philip. I feel like Philip and I should really be friends at this point. I've been streaming Philip's content for 3 years. Philip really, and the saddest part too is I didn't even see Sean's name on any of this. Sean, as you guys know, is the most handsome of all socialists. He is with Red May, but I don't see him on the schedule, and I'm very upset about that. I'm really hoping we have a Sean appearance. Anyway, Philip is in the first event, so we might have to stop by and do a live socialism on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Capital's grave, neo-feudalism, and the new class struggle. Then on May 9th, some way out of here. I don't know who any of these people are, but I bet it's going to be good because Philip is moderating it. This is an in-person event. On May 13th, cybernetic circulation complex, big tech, and plenary crisis. I have no idea what any of that means, but I know it's socialist. Grief and revolution in a world on fire. May 16th. May 17th, Delmore Schwartz, Marxism and the modernist poet. I think we might skip that one. I don't really like poetry. You guys can go to it on your own time if you want. May 20th, The West and the Rest, Capital and Power in a Multipolar World. May 21st, Citizen Marx, Republicanism and Formation of Marxist. Oh, we're definitely doing that one. That's absolutely happening. May 22nd, American Constitutional Collapse. Oh my. American Constitutional Collapse, you say? We're definitely doing that one. And then here's Sophie speaking in person in Seattle, not streaming it. It's very upsetting. May 27th, De-reification in Art Now. I don't know what that means. May 28th, Fake Work. How I Began to Suspect Capitalism Was a Joke. We're definitely doing that one. Sarah Jaffe. We've seen Sarah Jaffe before. Sarah Jaffe is a socialist that doesn't want to have to get a job. Literally. Let's see. Any other ones? And the rest of them are in person. So I have to say, Philip's Red May schedule this year looks significantly better than it did last year. I'm actually excited about some of these presentations. Welcome back, Philip. We'll be spending a lot of time with Philip over the next month. We're going to be socialismed out by the end of the month because Red May is just a lot of socialism. It's a lot. And they're very wonky and they're very academic, but oftentimes they're pretty good. Naruto, the interview Kim did with Karlyn is up on Kim's YouTube channel. Go watch it after. Yeah, everyone go like the interview on Kim's YouTube channel. I actually really liked that interview. I thought I did a good job. I thought Kim asked really good questions. I really appreciated her having me on. And she's just like a good egg. She's like real, man. Like Kim Iverson is real. I think I hope please don't let Kim Iverson betray me like all the others have. Please, I really don't want Kim Iverson to turn out to be a fraud, just like Dave Rubin did, just like all the other like big wigs. I like Kim Iverson. I really want Kim Iverson to be real. Anyway, everyone go watch the interview. Go leave a nice comment for her. Go do the heart thing. Go share it out. I also posted the interview over on the Substack. Again, that is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. You can find the interview right there. And oh, by the way, let me show you guys something. If you go into my original post about the male supremacism conference, you'll notice something. The Institute for the Research into Male Supremacism is abusing the DMCA system on Substack and has issued a request that Substack remove the highlight reel of their conference that I am covering as an independent journalist that is of public interest. So the Institute for Male Supremacism is trying to hide their content. Now they're going to fail. You want to know why? Because they don't have a leg to stand on. And how it works on Substack is essentially what happens after they do a DMCA to take down the content. Substack takes down the content, but then basically I get to file a counterclaim. So I have already filed the counterclaim. Now, what happens now, and basically the counterclaim says, I'm an independent journalist. This is in the public interest. This was a public thing that anyone could sign up for. And they're just pissed off because their political agenda is being exposed to the world. I mean, I wrote it much nicer than that, but that's effectively what it is. It's like, this is a non-issue. Basically, this is obvious fair use. It's journalism. It's in the public interest. Like, they don't get to run away and hide just because they don't like being exposed to the world. So now that I have filed a counterclaim, the Institute for Research into Male Supremacism has 10 days to provide Substack with evidence that they're suing me, essentially. Now, I don't think they're going to sue me. I think that they would be fucking crazy to sue me. But let's talk about what happens if they do. If the Institute for Research into Male Supremacism decides in the next 10 days that they want to sue me to prevent their conference from being shared to the world, which it's already shared, by the way, and there ain't shit they can do about it, that means I get to go get a public interest lawyer because it's a free speech issue. That means that I get to do discovery with the Institute for Research on Male Supremacism. And that means in all likelihood, Alex, that I would end up getting access to the donor information for the Institute for Research on Male Supremacism. Remember, they're a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit. This is a tax-exempt nonprofit. So if the Institute for Research on Male Supremacism wants to file a lawsuit against me in the next 10 days to hide their content, I suppose that's a strategy on their part. I don't think it's a very good strategy. I think they're going to talk to some lawyers and they're going to find out that's a really dumb strategy because you're actually going to end up giving her more information than she already has. And maybe you should just accept the oppression that's been handed to you, Alex. Maybe you should just accept the oppression and just let it go. Because you're not going to win in court. There is no way you're going to win in court. Like, there is no reality in which you're going to win in court. And so Alex can kick and scream all she wants, but I'm sorry, Alex, I outplayed you. I outplayed you. So if Substack does not receive proof that they're suing me in the next 10 days, they have to put the video back up. Now, I will say this, though. I'm a little bit annoyed at Substack because Substack has said to me, please don't publish anything else related to this content while this dispute is ongoing. And I emailed them back and I said to them, I was like, you're telling me I can't publish clips from this newsworthy event in a timely manner? And they said, please don't publish anything related to this in the next 10 days. And I said, that doesn't really work for me. I'm an independent journalist. This is a timely event. And so now what I've said to Substack is, okay, Substack, if you want to prevent me from publishing this content on your platform, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to publish it on Twitter because Twitter doesn't take this stuff down, like ever. They just don't. Because Twitter understands that when people request it to be taken down, they are abusing the DMCA system. So I said to Substack, I was like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish all the clips on Twitter, and then I'm going to publish an article on Substack, and that article is going to say, sadly, Substack is preventing me from publishing this content directly on Substack, so you need to go follow my Twitter account to get the most timely, up-to-date information, because Substack is allowing their own DMCA system to be abused by this organization to prevent you from seeing the content. So I can't publish it here, but I can publish it over here, and I am publishing it over here. And so just go over there and see it. I don't think it's a good look for Substack. Substack's supposed to be a platform that supports independent journalists. This is literally the first issue I've ever had with Substack. I think they're a great platform overall. I've been a big Substack proponent. I think it's a great platform. I own like a teeny tiny little part of the company. Actually, like I did buy into like their stock or whatever when they did like a public like I don't know exactly what it's called. I know I sent them some money and apparently I own a little teeny tiny bit of the company, but like I'm a big Substack supporter, okay? But like this is actual bullshit. You're preventing an independent journalist from publishing their fucking independent journalism because the people they're covering don't want you to see the content. Okay, so I'll publish it on Twitter and I will just use Substack to direct people to Twitter to say, sadly, Twitter is going to be the best place for you to get this content right now because I can't publish it over here. Not my fault. Substack's fault. Go complain to them. So I'm publishing it either way. And, I hope that this all just gets resolved in the next 10 days and my video goes back up and then Substack gets out of my business because I got stuff I need to do, man. There's a lot of clips from that conference that have to go up. And I'm going to be publishing a bunch of them, whether they like it or not. So that's what's going on, guys. If you appreciate the work I do, please make sure you're supporting it. This work is 100% funded by people like you. I am doing a membership drive right now. I'm trying to get 400 new paying members of the Substack by the end of the summer. The reason I want to do that is it's going to support, hopefully, undercover work in the back half of the year. So when you guys are funding me through the Substack, you're allowing me to invest in this. You're allowing me to invest time in this. You're allowing me to invest resources in this. You're allowing me potentially to do undercover work that I'm going to create content for you that no one else is covering. And so if you appreciate what I do, please make sure you sign up. I've had a bunch of new people sign up in the last couple weeks. I do really appreciate that, but we got a long way to go. This is a marathon membership drive. And so my goal is to get everyone that's consuming my content on a regular basis. If you're in a financial position to afford $8 a month or $80 a year, you allow me to keep this content free for everyone. And you allow me to produce content that no one else on the internet is producing this content but me. No one else on the internet is going into these events. No one else on the internet is sitting there for 4 days watching the Institute for Research into Male Supremacism live on the internet where you can actually come and watch it with you. No one else is doing this that I know of. So if you appreciate it and you want to see it going and you want to see it keep expanding and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, as I know you guys do, make sure you support it and help me keep this free for everyone. Because I know spy streams aren't free for everyone, but we do release clips and stuff after the spy stream. So we're still providing that content to the world. That is something I really want to keep as much of this content as free as possible. And so you guys can help me do that. And I really appreciate it. All right, let's dig into our video. We are watching an organizing call that took place yesterday, I believe hosted by the National Education Association, which is one of the biggest teachers unions in the country. If you guys would be so kind, please mount the like button for me. Please make sure you subscribe on whatever channel you're watching on, whether that be YouTube or X or Rumble, or I'm even broadcasting to LinkedIn now just to try it out. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. How long is it going to be before I get kicked off LinkedIn? We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, guys, let's get this party started.
Okay.
No music. No music. No music, please. Mayday, people.
On behalf of just because
This is hosted by
I'm
the National
so
Education
excited.
Association. Okay, hang on.
Hello, everybody.
We're good.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Ramona Oliver.
Hi, Ramona.
I'm so excited to be here. I am a fighter for justice.
Oh, yeah?
Just like you. My justice is education justice because I am so honored to work and practically live at the National Education Association. So my work is on behalf of educators and students all across this country. But I know you are all here bringing your own desire for justice, and I'd love to hear about it. Your May Day is about justice. Mine is about justice for students. What is your May Day about? Tell me in the chat. Send us a message right now and let me know what your May Day is going to be about. So we have a fabulous call planned for you. But before we get started, I want to make sure that all my brothers and sisters who are Spanish speakers have the ability to tap into our translation service tonight. So Flavia, would you please walk people through how they can access that?
Hola, tacos, burritos, Spanish section.
Muchas gracias.
No, read all of the amazing work that you
Spanish,
were in
senor.
Chicago. Hardly see. Read all of the amazing work that you guys are doing out there. So, it was a month ago that we were in Chicago. And, we came out of that meeting with a really ambitious goal, organize in 100 cities on May Day so that we could show a united front for labor, for immigrants, for working families across this country. Well, folks, in 2 days, we're going to have 1,034 events and counting.
Crazy.
In 1,266 cities. Oh my God, it just blows the mind how much you guys have done to be able to make this May Day possible. And we're going to show them.
And again, guys, I really want to emphasize this. They said this the last time. I think they might say it again this time. I guess we'll see. They are specifically doing this in the middle of the week to prove that they can. They're not talking about protests for Saturday. They're talking about protests for tomorrow on Thursday, okay? They're doing this specifically because there is a movement on the left where I've heard them talk about doing it in 2026. I've also heard them talk about doing it in 2028. I think 2026 is probably more likely. There is a movement on the left to try to organize for like a literal nationwide labor strike, to try to organize with all the unions and all the workers and all the things to say, okay, all of the unions are striking at the same time. All of the workers are going to strike at the same time. And they understand this is like a long-term thing that takes literally years of organizing to pull off, but they're trying to figure out how to do it. And I think that one of the reasons that they're trying to do this protest stuff in the middle of the week is to prove that they can get workers to literally leave their job in the middle of the week to engage in protest.
On May Day, that you can't give tax breaks to billionaires on the backs of working people. You can't take it out of our schools and put it into a billionaire's pocket. We're not going to let that happen. That's why we have events all over the country.
ATF as well.
And this
ATF
will
is
be
the other
the
teachers union.
biggest May Day that we have seen in 100 years.
Yep.
And it's all thanks to you and everyone who you've brought together. So we've got new events and new things happening every day. In fact, somebody just handed me a piece of breaking news. The anti-oligarchy tour is coming to Philadelphia. And you know what? Senator Bernie Sanders is going to be there
Oh, yeah?
to headline the event. That's my hometown. God, I wish I could be there. But that is just one of thousands of events that are being planned. We are going to show that we can create a united movement, pro-immigrant, pro-Black, anti-racist, that builds the kind of society that we all deserve.
What kind of society is that?
May Day is not just one day, though. May Day is going to be mobilizations starting on May 1 and moving into the future. We're going.
What did I say? What did I say? What have I been saying? This is not about May Day. This is kicking off the summer of love. What did I say? I am a prophet. I am the socialist fucking prophet.
To be coming back to you soon with plans to build strategies moving into next year and the year after and all the way up to 2028. We're going to do trainings and national convenings. So I want you to get pumped for May Day, but I also want you to get pumped for what you're starting here today. We have an opportunity to defend those that our administration, this administration, have been hurting, have been taking away from, have been vilifying. We can stand up for them and create a more just society. We're not going to stand by while judges get jailed, while innocent unionists get deported to El Salvador.
Here we
go. I want you to stay on the whole call because there's fun stuff at the end. I promise you. And
can I just, I'm sorry. I just need to take a victory lap on this because does everyone remember after the election, the right was like, the left is totally demoralized. The left is never coming back after this. Look, the left didn't even protest Trump's inauguration. The left is done. We won. They lost. Does everyone remember this? And I was sitting there screaming like a banshee. I'm like, you guys have no fucking idea what's coming. And you don't see it, but I see what they're talking about. I know what they're doing. This is going to be bad. This is going to be really bad. This is going to be worse than you can ever fucking imagine. I was screaming like a lunatic in there, and I had to talk to so many people, and they were like, Karlyn, what are you talking about? The left is totally demoralized. They're all demoralized. They all took their toys and went home. And I was like, okay, wait. Just wait. Just give it a couple months because remember, this was back in January and it's cold in January and no one wants to fucking protest in the cold. I'm swearing too much lately. Isn't it funny? Like I used to swear all the time and now I've really been trying to control the swearing because people don't like the swearing. But I'm just like, it's just like I'm taking a victory lap, okay? I will swear during my fucking victory lap if I want to because of all the people who told me I was wrong and all the people who tried to ignore me and said, the left is demoralized. They're not doing anything. And I was like, all right. And as it turns out, I was right and they were wrong. Story of my life. They'll never admit it. But okay. They'll pretend they knew the entire time. Yeah, sure you did.
We have such great leaders here to speak tonight, but I want to do just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. So I know all of you were planning on being at May Day events, correct? Or you were hosting a May Day event? Yes, let me see your little hearts and loves and thumbs ups. You can make your reactions. There we go. So I want to make sure that if you want to be a partner, we're going to put these links into the chat. Hopefully I can't see the chat, but it will be there. So that if you want to become a partner in May Day, you can be there. If you want a toolkit, if you are hosting an event and you need support, we have a fabulous toolkit that will help you with organizing your May Day event and making it as successful as possible. Or if you just want to show up with like 100 of your friends and come out for one of the May Day events in your community, then go to the website, maydaystrong.org. That is where you're going to get everything that you need to be a huge part of what's going to be happening on Thursday. So if you have questions about events in your area, or if you're a host and you need help, you can email the address that's up on the screen, support@maydaystrong.org. And then please, please, I'm going to give you one of the hints of things that we want to do at the end of the call. It's going to involve these two hashtags.
Oh, good.
May Day Strong, hashtag May Day Strong, and hashtag May Day 2025. So those are just some of the tools that we want you to use as we are going on. Now, you don't want to hear me talk anymore.
No,
you
I
want to
don't.
hear the amazing leaders that I'm going to bring on.
Yep, I want to hear
And
Becky.
The first one is, I have to admit, I'm biased, nearest and dearest to my heart. The leader of the largest labor union in these United States, science teacher from Pennsylvania, and president of the National Education Association.
Becky.
Please welcome President Becky Pringle.
Hi, Becky. Becky doesn't know how to use
my
Zoom.
goodness. Thank you, Ramona. I'm looking, I can't, I'm fixated on the chat right now, which is populating with all of the messages and from all over the country. And I'm feeling a little full, honestly, if I be honest with you. You know, people ask me all the time, how you doing? How you doing? I know you're getting the same kind of questions. And I've changed my answer, depending on where I am. And right now, I'm in a community, a beloved community of people who believe, as I do, that we should be fighting for the aspirational goals of this country, fighting for our students, fighting for our democracy. And here you are, thousands of you, ready to have already and are ready to take actions for as long as it takes. As Ramona said, my name is Becky Pringle. I'm an 8th grade science teacher, taught middle level learners the wonders of science for 31 years. I'm so proud to be the president of the 3 million strong National Education Association. NEA members teach and care for and feed and counsel and drive and nurse our students all over this country in so many ways, and they serve this nation's more than 50 million students. Our members are represented by 14,000 locals, 51 state affiliates, and communities all across this country. I have put out a call to all of them, urging them, every one of them, to participate in Thursday's May Day action.
So Becky Pringle, president of the National Education Association, the largest teachers union in the country, has put out a call to all K through 12 teachers nationwide that are members of the NEA to leave their job tomorrow to go and protest the Trump administration. It kind of seems to me like Becky is trying to disrupt the operations of the public schools nationwide. And I don't know, that just doesn't seem like a responsible thing to do for me. But maybe other people can decide how responsible that is. I don't know.
Of course, are gathered here tonight because we know, and people across the nation, and quite honestly, around the world, we saw that with the Hands Off rally a couple of weeks ago. But we're not alone, and we're joining in solidarity, and we're saying together that President Trump and his billionaire, greedy privateer friends are trying to create a race to the bottom on wages, a race to the bottom.
Why are taxpayer-funded employees allowed to protest the people who are funding them? Why is this even allowed? Public school teachers are taxpayer-funded employees. They're government employees. Why are taxpayer-funded employees allowed to be in a union that is designed explicitly to oppose the government, the people paying their salaries?
On benefits, a race to the bottom, on dignity itself.
Why are they even allowed to unionize?
And this is real important.
Good question.
This is really important. We can't just fight against, we have to fight for. So I always say we're fighting back against, but we're also fighting for. We are preparing to play offense. for as long as it takes to promote and to protect and to strengthen public education. And let me be clear, this May Day isn't...
Hang on. James Jones, you've been around long enough to know better. These are not Democrats. These are socialists. Becky Pringle's a socialist. She's not a Democrat. She is a socialist. Everyone on this organizing call is a socialist. Let's back up a second.
Offense for as long as it takes to promote and to protect and to strengthen public education. And let me be clear, this May Day isn't just one day of action. It is the start of an ongoing movement to win schools and communities that we all deserve. To win a country that...
So now the president of the National Education Association is advocating overtly for ongoing social disobedience. Oh, that's going to be great. The Summer of Love facilitated by the nation's teachers.
Values families more than billionaire fortunes. A country that puts high quality public schools ahead of private profits. A country that understands healthcare is more important than hedge funds. We are fighting for a country that will protect everyone who calls this nation home. Everyone, whether they are native or newcomer, everyone. No matter the language they speak, what they look like, or where they live, together we have planted the seeds. For more than 1,000, you heard Ramona say, we're over 1,000 right now, and we expect many, many more actions on May Day that will take place across this country. And for as long as it takes, we will fight so we can win. For our students, for our workers, for this country. And we will win. And I want to share these words by an educator, a band author. I never speak without putting those words into this space. An activist, Audre Lorde, who with her words reminds us of our collective power.
Collective power.
I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. Deliberate and unafraid, determined and unbowed, driven and unapologetic. We will continue to stand against all that is unacceptable, inhumane, or immoral. And we will fight to create the country that we all deserve, and that our students, our children, our babies are depending on us to fight for.
Listen, Marx says if these people are serious in what they're claiming they are going to achieve, it could justify Trump declaring martial law. These people are deadly serious about what they're saying. I have these people, not Becky Pringle specifically, but I have socialists on video from multiple different organizations talking about violently overthrowing the federal government. The question is not, is the left serious about what they're saying and doing? The question is the Trump administration serious enough to actually do something about it? Because the Trump administration currently seems far more concerned about combating anti-Semitism than it does about combating revolutionary socialists and communists that are about to try to shut down every public school in the country via nationwide protests promoted by the head of the National Education Association, and the American Federation of Teachers is in on this too. That is the other teachers union with Randy Weingarten. So until the Trump administration, could the Trump administration maybe do this? The Trump administration probably would have had a lot more ground to deport college students if they did it on the basis of they're revolutionary communists. They're trying to overthrow the government. Because the college student protesters are revolutionary socialists. Most of them are revolutionary socialists who literally want to overthrow the federal government. Deport them for that. Go after them for that. But no, we have to combat the scourge of anti-Semitism. So until the Trump administration removes its head from its ass, I don't think they're going to do anything about these people. They don't take this seriously. They don't even pay attention to this stuff. Just anti-Semitism, 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 anti-Semitism all the time. That's the biggest problem, not communism and socialism, anti-Semitism, according to the Trump administration.
so we can demonstrate to them that we are worthy. We are worthy of the future we are fighting to create. Ramona?
Oh, the hearts are just out of control, Becky. That was amazing. Thank you
Stunning and brave,
so
Becky.
much.
Thank you.
There are almost 2,000 people on this call tonight. There is a person behind every one of those hearts going up.
2,000 people.
And I want to encourage you, if you have questions, there is a Q&A box. There is a bunch of great volunteers and staff behind the scenes right now, ready to answer your questions, ready to help you find your events, do your events. So get into that Q&A box. That way we can share it with everybody. Don't put your questions in the chat. Do you see how fast that thing is moving? And you can also go to maydaystrong.org before the end of the night. I am so proud to introduce my sister in so many ways, a woman who I have held as a role model for so long. Back when I first started in this little town and was just a little youngin' at the DNC, the president of the American Federation of Teachers.
Oh, Randy.
Please show some love for Ms. Randy Weingart.
Hi, Randy. It's nice to see you. I didn't expect to see you here. Randy also doesn't know how to use Zoom.
Mute. And it was so great to hear Becky. And it's so great that I am with, I mean, it's so great for me to see all these hearts and to see thousands of people on this call already. And I am in the middle of an airport right now. And I was able to delay my second flight so that I could be with all of you right now. Unfortunately, they're about to board, so I have a couple of minutes. But the reason we are part of the May Day, the International Workers' Day. Becky said so much, and everybody thank you for those who said fly safe, and everybody who's on it. There's an inflection point this year, and it's different this year than it's been before. And it is for all sorts of reasons, but let me focus on one, which is we are a nation of immigrants. Some of us, some of our predecessors were here before any of the rest of us. Some of us are native to this land. They haven't been treated very well by the United States of America.
That's the most important
problem right now.
Some
of us were brought here in bondage. They haven't been treated well. Some of us came from grandparents and grandparents who were escaping poverty and hunger, and were escaping oppression and fascism and kings and autocracy, like my grandparents, just like Governor Pritzker's grandparents, who escaped from the Ukraine because of pogroms where there was certain death. We came to America for a better life. And we, whether we're teachers, whether we're welders, whether we're teamsters, we have an obligation to help people who now are in harm's way because of an administration that doesn't understand its past, or that doesn't understand that immigration makes us stronger. Diversity makes us stronger. Statue of Liberty, give us your tired and your poor. It's made our country stronger. And so we have to be on the streets this May Day for all of our immigrant friends.
Wow.
To say, we got you. We're there. We're standing up.
It kind of seems to me like the president of the American Federation of Teachers is trying to coordinate with teachers and radical activists nationwide to prevent Trump from deporting illegal aliens. Does that seem... Is that what's going on? Is that what we're talking about? Because I'll tell you what, we've been tracking some teacher activism in Vermont, including people from the ATF and the NEA. And do you guys know that the Vermont schools, like all of the Vermont schools basically, are trying to coordinate to be sanctuary schools where they're all basically rebelling, like they're in open rebellion against the Trump administration? So if Trump is arresting judges for trying to shield illegals, then what is he doing to the presidents of the largest, like the two teachers unions in the country, the largest unions in the country, who are trying to coordinate not only nationwide civil unrest, which is what they're doing, and it's not just tomorrow. They're both saying it. They're like, this isn't about protests tomorrow. We're kicking off an entire protest season. So these people are the heads of two of the two major teacher unions. They have millions of members. They're on an organizing call with thousands of people where they're trying to coordinate civil unrest, and they're doing it in the name of protecting illegal immigrants from being deported. This to me seems to all be an open rebellion to the Trump administration. But what do I know? I'm just a lowly psychologist that watches the left. I'm not a lawyer. It would be a shame if someone passed this on to, like, I don't know, maybe Harmy Dillon could do something about this. I don't know.
As people have stood up for us. And that's why over 800 of my locals are involved on May Day, and it's growing more and more by the day. And I really honor those who started and said, this is important. We have to do this. But that is who we are standing up for. Yes, there are all these other issues that are really important. So not the students.
Not just to be very, very clear. Randi Weingarten, head of the American Federation of Teachers, is not organizing these protests to advocate for the needs of students. She's not organizing these protests to advocate for the needs of teachers. She's trying to mobilize people to advocate for the protection of illegal immigrants so Trump doesn't deport them.
International Day of Solidarity. We are standing up for our immigrant siblings. We are standing up for the child who was deported while she had cancer treatment in this country. We are standing up for Gilmar Abrego Garcia and his family. We are standing up for due process. We are standing up for all of our undocumented children who need an education.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
standing up. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing this May.
Not for the American kids. Not for that. No, the illegals. Okay.
Thank you so much, Randi. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. It is going to be a new day on Washington, which is why it's so apropos that I get to introduce the head of the Sunrise movement, Aru Shani Ajay. Please come share with your family.
Hey y'all, it's such an honor to speak after Becky and Randi, and such an honor to be with all of you, all 2,000 of you on this call. I believe that history is made by small groups of people who have the courage to take it in their hands. And that's what you're doing right now. That's what you're doing on May Day. So I hope you feel proud of yourselves, and we're going to be in this together. My name is Aru. I'm the executive director of the Sunrise Movement, and we are building a youth army to stop the climate crisis.
Oh, good.
And we're organizing people this May Day, and not just this May Day, but over and over again for the next several years to win the future that we deserve. Young people have inherited a very broken world. I have never voted in an election that Trump was not running in. I don't know a democracy that wasn't under threat from fascism. I was in elementary school when the financial crisis happened. I haven't known an economy that is an economy of opportunity. I haven't known an economy where I believe that you can get ahead. And above it all, the climate crisis looms for us. Fires burn hotter and longer. Hurricanes hit our homes and our families. Young people aren't growing up with a bright future to look forward to. And that's why we're really angry, because this future didn't just happen. It was built. It was built by oligarchs. It was built by rich billionaires who decided that their bottom line was more important than all of the rest of us put together. And it was built by politicians who decided that they would rather take bribes than actually stand up for the people who elected them. There is a disease that has created Trump and his cronies. And if we are going to stop the fascism that is plaguing this country, we need to cut that disease out right at its root. That's why we're here.
I'm sorry, what? Again, please? Trump is a disease? Everyone that voted for Trump is a disease that needs to be cut out at the root?
for the people who elected them. There is a disease that has created Trump and his cronies. And if we are going to stop the fascism that is plaguing this country, we need to cut that disease out right at its root.
Wow.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here for May Day. And that's what it's going to take to actually protect each other, to protect this country, to protect our futures. And that's why in my generation, what I see above else is, yes, people sometimes feel defeated or scared, but above all, people are really ready for big change. This isn't going to just get solved by going back to the way things were 4 years ago or 8 years ago. We need a democracy that actually works for working people. We need a future to look forward to, where we have healthy food to eat and clean air and clean water, and where corporations don't run this country, where working people actually run this country, where we run this country.
Socialism.
And sometimes talking about such a bold vision can feel hard when we're facing fascism. But I also believe that these things are common sense. They're things that all of us want, things that the majority of Americans want. And crises like this require hope to get through them. They require believing that a better world is possible and that we're able to organize for it. And looking at the last several years of my organizing, that's certainly what I've seen. Young people are—
Hang on. So I just want to do a quick reminder. We're seeing some people say this in the chat, but I just want to, for anyone who might be new, first of all, if you're new, welcome. Welcome to Watching Socialism with me. We're going to show you a lot of stuff no one else is showing you. Try not to get too overwhelmed. If you are new in the chat, let us know that you're new in the chat. Please feel free to ask questions about any of the things that they're saying. We want to make sure people understand the language. You might think you understand the language, but if you're new, you probably don't understand the language. And one of the language tricks that I want to point out right now is this person keeps saying fascism, 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 fascism. What they mean when they say fascism is capitalism. They think that the United States was built on capitalism, not only as an economic model, but as a cultural model, and that capitalism creates all oppression. The left's goal, 100% of the time, is to abolish capitalism. By capitalism, they mean private property ownership. Okay, that means your ability to own a home, your ability to own land, your ability to own an apartment rental that you rent out as a landlord, your ability to own intellectual property, your ability to own a private business, whether or not that private business is big or small. It also means your parental rights over your children. They believe that's a form of private property ownership. They also believe your individual liberties are a form of private property ownership. So this is not just about an economic system where you go into a store and buy stuff. It's that too, but that's not all it is. They believe capitalism is a cultural model, and when they say fascism, they mean capitalism. That is, capitalism is their definition of fascism, because capitalism creates all oppression. And if you stick around, if you're new and you watch more of my content, you're going to see them saying this. You don't have to take my word for it. People in the chat will vouch for this. You will see them saying this on video, so you don't have to believe me. I'll show you the video of them telling you this in person. Missile says, I'm no scholar, but this seems truly insane. Missile, on a scale of 1 to 10, the insanity that we've seen in this so far is about a 4. This isn't even that insane. So, and I should say too, these people are not mentally ill. A lot of people like to say that they are. It's a really kind of simple, like very overly simplified way to look at it. These people exist in their own reality. They have a fundamentally different worldview than you do. They have a fundamentally different set of values than you do. They have a fundamentally different language than you do. They're not mentally ill. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're trying to build. And it's actually scary how consistent these people are across all the different groups. So I understand why it might seem insane. Stick around for a while. We'll show you the insane stuff. It will blow your mind. All right. If anyone has questions, feel free to ask them in the chat.
Are the ones who walked out of schools by the millions to demand gun control. They were walked out of schools in the millions to demand climate action, and we won the first climate bill. It is time to be able to do that times 10, so that this time what we're winning is not just one bill. What we're winning is not just one election, not just winning back the House, but reforms to our political system that kick corporate money out of politics.
Reforms to our political system that kicks corporate money out of politics. That means capitalism. It's a fancy way of saying capitalism. I hope everyone caught that. Hey, Janet, thanks for the super chat. Do you think the push to keep schools closed during COVID was really the teachers' unions proving how much power they can yield? Yes, 100%. And the Chicago Teachers Union basically bragged about this. Janet, do you remember when a representative of the Chicago Teachers Union literally got caught saying, I think it was, you'll have to fact check me on this. I don't remember exactly what happened, but the Chicago Teachers Union representative was on vacation in Puerto Rico, and they wanted to keep the schools closed so as not to disrupt their vacation in Puerto Rico. This was a thing back in 2020 or 2021. But yeah, I think the teachers union was instrumental in that. And I do think that's a really good point of probably it was to show how much power they have. In my opinion, do you think this mentality will continue to spread? Bro, are you serious? These people own every college and university with the exception of maybe a half dozen. These people own every single K through 12 school, not just in red states, not just in red cities, every K through 12 school. 90% of teachers have this mentality. We are now, what's happening now, because conservatives were so feckless in terms of like solving this problem, is we are now graduating students that literally their entire school career from the time they were 5 years old, they were taught by radical revolutionary socialists. This is not going, not only is this not going away, not only is this problem far bigger than most people who are not familiar with this type of content want to believe it is, but this is only going to continue to grow because the right will not hinge into reality with what the problem is. So yeah, they've got your kids. They've got the majority of your kids. They have the majority of kids that are graduating from high school and college right now. They've had them their entire lives. They've been through the brainwashing of the public schools and the colleges. Literally from day one, they've been learning this shit. And this stuff has been in the schools for a long time, but they really locked down control of the schools around 2008, 2009, 2010. Any student entering public schools after 2008, 2009, 2010 has been taught this content from the time they're 5 years old. In red cities, in red states, right alongside with blue cities and blue states. So yeah, it's going to keep growing.
That mean that we can run our country and that we can actually win the future that we deserve. And it's going to be hard. It's going to take more than just voting, more than just one day of action. Those are really important tactics. It's going to take all of us using every power at our disposal.
Okay, last pause because I do want to answer this question. I love answering questions in the chat. I'm curious where all this stemmed from in the United States. Well, the Frankfurt School came to the United States in the 30s to set up shop at Columbia University. The Frankfurt School is the home of critical theory. Critical theory means Marxism. These are Jewish intellectuals that were specifically advancing Marxism within higher education. This is why Columbia is the home base for a lot of the leftist protest stuff you see, because the Frankfurt School landed and set up shop at Columbia University. Columbia University is the home base for all of this. From Columbia University, they took over the Ivy Leagues. Then they took over all the other colleges. When they took over the colleges, they took over the schools of education. The schools of education gave them control over the teaching population. That's how they took over the K through 12 schools. This was a decades-long battle of inches. That's what the long march through the institutions is. And it started when the Frankfurt School came here in the 30s. In earnest, I'm not saying there wasn't socialist and communist organizing before that. There was, but that's the linchpin of when this started. So this stuff has been going on for about 100 years.
Because at the end of the day, everyday people run this country. We run this country, we make things go. And if we decide to actually take away that power, then people in power have to bend to us. That is what we can never let go of. That has been true throughout history. Nonviolent social movements have overthrown dictators. Well, we can overthrow an oligarchy too. That's why I believe in this May Day. It's not just about a one-off day of action where we all got into the streets.
Did this person just call for overthrowing the government? Is that what I just heard? Did this person just call for overthrowing the government?
Take away that power, then people in power have to bend to us. That is what we can never let go of. That has been true throughout history. Nonviolent social movements have overthrown dictators. Well, we can overthrow an oligarchy too.
Oh, yeah?
That's why I believe in this May Day. It's not just about a one-off day of action where we all got into the streets. It is a warning shot. It is a starter gun for the next 4 years, saying that
Oh
we're
my
going to show up
God.
again and again and again, using nonviolent direct action, using strikes, using every tool at our disposal to actually take back our democracy, to build the country that we deserve. A lot of the time, this stuff feels like a long shot, but something feels really, really clear to me. We don't have a lot of time left to build the planet that we need. We are heading towards 2.7 degrees of warming, which would send us into planetary crisis. We need to decarbonize, to move to green energy, to free energy instead of corporate.
Okay, I want to stop here because I really want to make a point. Oftentimes people ask me, are these people serious about their ideas or do they know they're lying? These people are 100% serious about their ideas. These people believe everything they say. What that means is, this is a climate change activist. This person literally believes with every fiber of their being that everyone on Earth is going to die if they don't take over the government and overthrow our current system to address the climate change crisis. That is what this person believes. That they're going to die, that all their friends and family are going to die, that everyone they've ever known is going to die, that everyone in the whole world is going to die because of climate change. And she just said, we're running out of time to fix this problem. They literally believe that the entire world is going to die if they don't do this. If you truly believed that everyone you know, everyone you love, every person you've ever met is going to die if you don't do something, are you likely to try to do that thing, even if that thing seems crazy, like overthrowing our current system to install their own system? Really think about that. These people believe every single thing that they say. They believe this is a planetary crisis. They believe that overthrowing the system is the only way to solve this problem. Do you think they're serious? I think they're serious.
Control energy as fast as we can. And that means taking power back from oligarchs and putting it in our hands. And we need to do it as fast as possible. So yes, it's a long shot, but it's just about our only shot. I'm so honored to be in this fight with all of you.
It's our
and
only
I believe
shot.
that we can win.
It's our only shot to save the planet. Taking in with the super chat. Karlyn's hair is red again. I did. I didn't even intend to do this. I dyed my hair red for Red May. Thanks, Tane, for the super chat. I appreciate it.
Aru, I hope you can see all of those hearts and the loves that everybody is sending you tonight. I'm sure there are many, many of your movements and many young people across this country who feel exactly the way you do. You know, our democracy is at stake, and one of my favorite organizations that fights is Popular Democracy. And I am so pleased to introduce Ms. Ana Lilia Mejia, the executive director, co-director, of Popular Democracy. Ana Lilia.
Thank you so much, Ramona, and really good job saying my name. I know sometimes it gets sticky. I am so grateful to be here with y'all. I want to just say there's no better place to be than amongst educators, right? Like in a moment in which we need to make sense of what's happening in the world, in which we need to articulate very clearly and succinctly to not only ourselves, our family, our neighbors, our community, what better place than to be amongst educators who every single day do the hard work of trying to uplift our communities and to give us some of the most powerful thing, or the most powerful thing that could possibly exist, and that is knowledge and understanding, right? So I want to thank Becky. I want to thank Randy. I want to again tip my hat off because I don't know how these incredible women do it. I also want to share, my brothers and sisters, that, you know, I'm not going to repeat what we already know. We find ourselves having lost a full participatory democracy in our nation. It is sad. We should mourn it, and it should be sobering to us that we are very quickly sliding.
When socialists say democracy, they mean socialism. When she says we've lost a full participatory democracy in our nation, it means we don't have it's basically a reference to the Electoral College because they want to abolish the Electoral College. And so they're saying the only reason this fascist dictator Trump won the election is because of the Electoral College. And the Electoral College is literally anti-democratic. And we need to get rid of the Electoral College. And by the way, the Supreme Court and the Senate and technically the White House in order to install our socialist democracy, because that's what they really want.
Into what can best be described as a competitive authoritarianism, in which some folks are going to retain a semblance of power or fullness under the law, but many of us are going to continue to lose key civil liberties, civil rights, and protections that some folks are already losing. There are this example of US children being deported. These are US citizens being denied due process. When we are talking about judges being arrested, what we are witnessing is the imbalance, the destruction of checks and balances in our government. But all is not lost, because the truth is that in these moments, the antidote to this insanity is organizing. The antidote is for all of us. In fact, I'm going to bring it back to teachers. Up until this point, many of us has played the role of student, right? We have studied what is within the Project 2025 threats. We have studied and listened to what is being eroded in our democracy. But now, starting on May Day, we have to transition ourselves to assume the role of teacher, of educator. Because it is insufficient for you to turn out on May 1st, although you must and you will bring other people, because that's why you're here. But we need to transition to educators and start going into our concentric circles of influence and start making sure that more and more people are clear about what is happening in this moment. And there are 4 things that it is imperative that we just get up and put our bodies and our minds in where our morals and values are, and that we must make sure that more and more people understand. The first most important thing, it is critical and important that everyone in our circles, starting on May 1st, before May 1st, and all the way through until we get through this awful presidency, and we shall, have to understand that we must defend and protect truly independent judiciary, truly independent press, and that we must call out every action to curtail it, because those 2 aspects of our society are fundamental in ensuring truth and being able to give people the power they need for self-governance. The second key thing, we're going to need you to play the teacher and ensure that your concentric circle of influence understand is that there may come a time, it's right around the corner. Midterms are but a handful of months away. I know that feels far, but it's not. And so in order for us to actually protect a fully participatory democracy, we must ensure that we are fighting back, pushing against any curtailment that will come at both the state level and not just through EOs. Stay vigilant, my people, and make sure that you are talking about it. We must name it as it happens. Third is that, frankly, y'all, I don't know about you, at Popular Democracy, we believe in the power of civil disobedience and the importance of non-compliance when the laws or the powerful are moving unjust things. And that may be radical. And I know that that may sound like the radical emotions of the youth. Let the gray hair let you know that this is not some radical emotion of the youth. This is a strategy and tactic that, as organized, educated people, we must utilize. We cannot pre-comply. We must remain as non-compliant to injustice as we possibly can, my community, and we must educate ourselves on how to do it. And then the final thing is that you must be an organizer in what we are calling or building as a united pro-democracy alliance, labor, educators, faith-based community, welders, teachers, librarians, whether it's our children, our grandparents, our neighbors, folks we go to church with, or the folks we pass on the street. Y'all, we are in fact the pro-democracy army that our democracy depends on. And so I'm going to leave you on that, because I could just go on and on about how fired up I am about organizing. But I'm going to hand it back to you, Ramona, because we have some awesome folks that are about to speak next. So thank you, all those who are on here. And I'm assuming right alongside y'all, this, the student shall become the teacher and we will multiply. Thank you, Ramona.
Hey,
Thank you, Amarulia.
Look at this. We got a gift from Janet. 5 channel memberships. Who got a channel membership? Tayton got one. Joshua got one. Mustard Seed, Frozen, and Reverend Bob got one. Congratulations, all channel members. Now, with channel membership, YouTube channel members are invited to come to spy streams. So you have to be a supporter on my main Substack, karlyn.substack.com, or my locals, or my Patreon, or a Twitter subscriber, or now a YouTube channel member. And if you are a YouTube channel member, including those gifted memberships that Janet just gave out, you're going to get an invitation to Spy Stream. Our next Spy Stream infiltration is on Friday at around 11:30 in the morning Eastern Time. And it is going to be a K-12 school infiltration. And it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be great, and you're not going to want to miss it. So please keep a lookout on the community tab for your credentials on Friday. I'll send them out in the morning, and we will do an amazing spy stream on Friday. We also have another spy stream set up next week where we're going inside another major university for another crazy gender bullshit talk. So congratulations to everyone who got a membership. And if you want to join us, signing up on the Substack is my preferred method. But if you want to become a channel member, that's cool too.
It was fantastic. And you want to brighten your heart, go back through the chat and look at what everybody was saying while you were talking. May Day is going to be about, and has historically been about, the power of labor, but it is really about the power of labor and community united to be able to achieve change through the nonviolent, peaceful protests that you will do on Thursday. We can create change by sending every one of your friends to...
Hang on. This is important to note. YouTube is not shadow banning the spy streams. The spy streams are not public. So you're not going to get a notification. Someone else said this today. You are never going to get a notification for spy stream because the streams are not public, okay? It's only for supporters. So basically I send out the unlisted link to supporters, but you're not going to get a notification about it because the channel doesn't know who's a supporter and who's not. So when we do spy stream, you need to set your alarm. You need to set a reminder. You need to say to your iPhone, not even if you're a member, there's no option to send out a notification to members only. So you will get access to the spy stream. You will get the link in the community tab, but it's your responsibility to go to the community tab and find the information before the spy stream to come and join us. I always make posts on social media once I've actually posted the information publicly, but you guys got to do that. And there's nothing I can do about that. That is just the way the system goes. So I'm sorry if that's a problem, but set a calendar reminder, set your alarm. It'll be okay.
MaydayStrong.org. You can create change. So I know you're all good at multitasking. While you're listening to the next fabulous speaker, I want you to invite 10 friends to check out an event in your community. Labor has been a heart of our strength for so many years. So has this union and this fabulous leader. Please welcome the president of IUPAT, the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, Jimmy Williams.
Jimmy looks like he's a good old Boston boy. Let's hear what he has to say. But first, I'm going to go to Andre. I wonder why the corrupt mainstream media press corporations don't tell the country about protesting plans. Oh, quiet. Yeah, I wonder why they never tell the country about protesting. I wonder why you never hear about this stuff. By the way, conservatives don't really report on this either. Laura Loomer's actually been doing a good job. She still thinks these people are Democrats. They're not Democrats. They're socialists. I do have respect for Laura Loomer, but she needs to learn the difference between a Democrat and a socialist. She actually has been reporting on this stuff. And so I don't see Fox News reporting on this. I don't see like mainstream conservative commentators reporting on this because, you know, it is what it is, I guess. Hey, thank you. I appreciate the super sticker.
Yeah, thank you, Ramona. It's so exciting to be here just a couple of days before May Day, which is the real and only Labor Day for working people in this country, not the one that corporate America tries to get us to observe every September. Look, this May Day, I'm going to have the honor to be with Bernie Sanders in my hometown, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And as Ramona said, I'm the luckiest man in the world. I get to serve my membership. I'm a construction union leader now for over 3 years, but I'm a fourth generation member of my union, which means my great grandfather was a charter member of my union. My great grandfather was an immigrant to this country who helped form our unions back in the early 1900s. My great grandfather is Kilmar Abreu Garcia. And this May Day, I'm going to be rallying with the rest of the folks in the labor movement and in the communities that represent the people that built this country, the people, the backbone of this country that have been left behind by both parties in this country. This May Day, we're going to be planning.
Left behind by both parties, you say. It's almost like they don't like the Democrats either. Because all unions are socialist, guys. All unions are socialist. Not every member of a union is a socialist. A lot of people have to be in a union just because they have to. It doesn't mean you're a socialist if you're in a union, but all unions are run by socialists. It's a combination of like socialists and mob boss. But when in doubt, just assume anyone in any leadership position in any union is a revolutionary socialist, or at least a democratic socialist.
For our independence of both political parties in this country, and breaking the working class from the shackles that have been both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, who have done nothing to uplift the working class in this country. This May Day.
You mean they're not Democrats? Laura Loomer told me they were Democrats this morning on Twitter, and I said, Laura, I don't think these people are Democrats. I think they're socialists. And now you're telling me that the socialist union organizers are railing on the Democrats on their organizing call 2 days before May Day? Let's listen to that again, just for people who might be confused about this.
This May Day, we're going to be planning for our independence of both political parties in this country, and breaking the working class from the shackles that have been both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, who have done nothing to uplift the working class in this country. This May Day, we will be practicing for what our future is going to look like as a working class. This May Day, we will be preparing our membership for whatever needs to happen, including never taking off a general strike in order to get what the working class in this country needs. This May Day, we are going to be fighting to change the economy, not just live in the economy. This May Day, we're going to be fighting to make sure that all workers in this country have the healthcare system they deserve, have the retirement system they deserve, have access to a labor union to represent them. This May Day, we're going to be fighting once and for all to make sure that we hold politicians accountable to pass the PRO Act. Instead of just telling us that they support labor, show us. This May Day is about working people, period. This May Day is not about making political statements. This May Day is about teachers, construction workers, civil service workers coming together, service workers, us all uniting as a working class, not just in the United States, but across the globe. And we got the power because we have the people. And we have to always remember that. And this May Day is not about allowing Donald Trump to divide us. This May Day is not about trying to find that one issue. This May Day is about setting a future that all workers can unite behind, regardless of the political system that has held us back. This May Day is about freedom of speech that is under attack. This May Day is about the freedom to organize. This May Day is about standing up for all of our immigrant workers that have come to this country looking for a better life and have been treated like shit. This May Day is about showing a future that is better than our past, and a future that looks way different than the one that I've grown up in and the one that my children are going to live and work in. Thank you, Ramona.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Look at all those hearts for you. And, you know, my fellow Philadelphian, it was a wonderful message. It's very apt that we have our next speaker coming right after you, Jimmy, because she used to head up organizing for the Painters, but now she is the fantastic leader of Organized Power in Numbers. Nady Dominguez, please come join your family and share.
Yes, it is amazing to be here. I can't believe how many people are still here. I just want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you as an immigrant myself, as someone who lived in this country as an undocumented worker and a labor organizer. It is beautiful to see this home, this political home full of all.
Why are illegal immigrants allowed to be labor organizers in unions? Does that seem just a little bit like you don't belong here? You broke the law to come here. You are now organizing people to uprise against their government when you shouldn't even be here. And everyone's just okay with this? I'm not okay with this.
All of you. We're going to look powerful and we're going to look beautiful in the streets on May Day. And I also want to say that that is important to make sure we document, that we tell our friends it's going to happen. We're going to look powerful. We're going to look beautiful.
Like it is some fucking gall to not only come into a country illegally, not only take jobs that could go to an American citizen, but then to actively get involved in organizing designed explicitly to overthrow the government of the country that you came into illegally. Like, that's some fucking gall.
And the last time that I can remember being part of more than 1,000 actions across the country that felt like this, that had this special magic feeling, was after the murder of George Floyd on Juneteenth weekend of 2020. And I want to connect that thread to this moment.
You don't say.
Because I wouldn't be a good organizer if I didn't use this unique opportunity to be speaking to you to say that it is a false choice, that we have to choose between progressive movement and workers. We are a movement of workers. And we need to be as powerful as we can, enough powerful to go against the billionaires in this government right now. We have to grow, everyone. It is awesome to see almost 2,000 of us in this Zoom. We need to be 100, 1,000 times bigger than this. That is what it's going to take to push back and resist in this moment. We have to make room and welcome more of us, even when we don't agree with them on everything. And I want to repeat that again. We are in a moment where we have to make room for all of us, even when we don't make the same choice and agree on every single thing. The only way that we're going to get there, like Ana Lidia said, is by organizing. There's no shortcut, everyone. It takes talking to people, it takes organizing, and that is hard work, and we need more of us to do it. And so for us at Power in Numbers, the mandate on May 2nd is to talk to 10 million poor and working class people in the Sun Belt from May Day to Labor Day. We cannot wait to share more with you about our 10 million campaign. But what I do want to say tonight is that we need to stand together. We need to stand in our power, get ready to win an agenda that chooses workers over billionaires today, tomorrow, every day, and that we need to really sit with May Day as just the beginning. That's just the beginning, everyone. So get your good shoes, get your water. Like Annalita said, we need to talk to more of us, our own families. We need to grow our power, and we're gonna win. I do believe that we're going to win, and I have faith in us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nady. That was fantastic. Now, I want you to put in the chat, tell me how many people did you invite in the last 10 minutes to come out for a May Day event? I want to see those numbers. Vicky, turn that around. I need like 10, 15, something like that. Make sure they've got that website so they can turn out for this. So our next speaker, you know, part of the pain that this country is suffering is coming from an unelected billionaire who shall remain nameless because I don't even like letting his name pass my lips. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce Ms. Alice Hu from Tesla Takedown. Alice.
Seriously.
Hey everyone, it is so amazing to see that over 200,000 of us have joined the Zoom tonight.
I just want to remind everyone as we go into the Tesla Takedown section of this call is organized and hosted by the National Education Association, the largest teachers union in the country.
Right. And like Ramona said, we don't really want to talk about him, but unfortunately we have to. We know that Elon Musk, boo, we know that he was Trump's biggest donor during his campaign. We know that he gave $250 million to the Trump campaign to buy and now tank the US government. We know that he's gutted federal agencies that protect our food, our health, our air, and our water. We know that he has slashed critical social services. And let's not just keep the impacts to the US, right? We know that people around the world have died and are suffering because of all the sudden cuts to USAID that the world's richest man inflicted on some of the world's poorest communities around the world. So with all of that happening, the Tesla takedown movement has been taking on one of the world's biggest billionaires who is the most responsible for some of the horrors that we're seeing. For over 12 weeks now, hundreds of community members in towns and cities across the US and the world have staged nonviolent protests. We've put on nonviolent demonstrations, we've put on rallies, and we've done that week after week after week. And we're so proud to have played a role in tanking Elon Musk's wealth and his status and his power. We're seeing Tesla stocks nosedive. We're seeing Tesla revenue down 71% compared to last year. That's 71% because of all of us protesting his showrooms, protesting his company week after week after week. And we know that Musk and his crony friend, Donald Trump in the White House, are trying to squash this movement, are trying to paint us as so-called domestic terrorists, which is just absurd. And we know that they're doing that because they're scared and because this is working. So like everybody else that has spoken before me has said, May Day is not just the start of a single day, but it is the start of a movement moment. So after you're done marching in the streets this Thursday, we would love if you could find your nearest Tesla takedown protest to join that Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday. You can find that by going to teslatakedown.com.
Wow.
And that's where you can find your nearest Tesla takedown protest. And if there isn't one yet, you can just easily register one. Just like with May Day, there's an easy-to-use toolkit that will explain everything you need to know about how to host a protest against Elon Musk. We know that—
Hang on. I just need to do a quick pause. We have someone in the chat right now who's saying, the left never stops protesting and they haven't done anything. One in the chat, if you agree with this person that the left hasn't moved a political inch. Two in the chat, if you believe this person doesn't know what they're talking about and isn't fully hinged into reality, probably because they have been listening to bullshit artist conservative influencers who have lied to them and not exposed them to the true set of information. 1 in the chat if you agree with this person, 2 in the chat if you disagree with this person and know that he is completely misguided. But, you know, maybe he'll come and learn, and he'll learn all the things that his bullshit art. Oh, you're a communist? Okay, communist. What's the definition of capitalism? You're a communist? Really? You're not just a conservative bullshit artist pretending to be a communist? What is the left's definition of capitalism, communist? Nope, that's not the left's definition of capitalism. Do you want to try again? And by the way, this is something that a dissident right-winger would say. It's not something that a communist would say. I know, I've been watching communists almost every day for 4 years. So we'll give you one more try before we ban you for lying. What is the left's definition? Oh, no, incorrect. Again, this is a conservative bullshit answer. It's not what, oh, you're black too? I don't believe a thing you say. And because you are lying in my chat, you are now banned. As a reminder, the left's definition of capitalism is private property ownership. It is not just about the private means of production. If you think it's about the private means of production, you are probably listening to bullshit conservative talking points, because that's not what their definition is. Their definition, as any communist, any socialist will tell you, and we have them on video saying this 19 ways from Sunday, it is private property ownership. It is only people on the right who do not listen to the left that think this is about the means of production. As though we live in a world where everything is made in a factory. Did you guys know that we're still in the 1920s? We're still in the industrial revolution, and everything is made in a factory, except it's not anymore, legitimately. So we can always sniff out people who are lying in my chat. It's very, very simple to do, and they always come from the right. By the way, when I asked 1 or 2 in the chat, not a single person put 1 in the chat. And that makes me very happy, because you guys know what's up. Let's continue.
Mass mobilizations in other countries have been able to stop fascists. They've been able to topple dictatorships. Just this last winter, we saw how in South Korea, there was an attempted coup, but workers, students, teachers, community members came out in the hundreds of thousands to stop that attempted coup from happening. So we know that this is possible in other countries, and we know that it is possible to stop fascism, stop the violence of deportations, stop the horrors of the gutting of the federal agencies and the federal government. When people come out onto the streets en masse, when we come out over and over.
You think he was right? What's the left's definition of capitalism? What is the left's definition of capitalism? This is the last time I'm pausing to deal with retards in my chat. What is the left's definition of capitalism? You think he was right? We'll wait for your answer. You have 30 seconds. Do 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 do. You know what's funny about people who come in my chat to try to sling bullshit is I can literally say what the left's definition of capitalism is, which I just did less than 5 minutes ago, and they still won't know it. Oh, it's the same person. The person we just blocked came back with a different account. Goodbye. See, I told you we can sniff these people out. Goodbye. And if you come back with another account, we're just going to ban you too.
And over again, when we come out hard and we come out strong and we come out united against our common enemies, the billionaire class, when we have the courage and the ambition to fight, we know we can win. They always say that they have, we know that they have the money on their side, right? But as we always say, they might have organized money, but we have organized people, and organized people can beat organized money. We've seen it in other places. We've seen it happen in this country, and we know we can do it again. We know we can win against the billionaires, and we can put the power and the resources back into our communities. So I'm just going to do another pitch. First, go to maydaystrong.org, find your closest May Day protest happening this Thursday, and if there isn't one yet, start one right now. And then, after you do that, another piece of homework, go to TeslaTakedown.com and find your closest Tesla takedown action. And again, if there isn't one yet, you can start one at your nearest showroom, at your nearest charging station, or even if you can't find any of that, just find your nearest street intersection and you can protest Elon Musk after we protest all the billionaires taking away our power and our resources. So I will pass it back now to Ramona.
Thank you so much, Alice. So I already told you I'm completely biased. I come from 3 generations of old-fashioned Southern school teachers, librarians, and janitors. And I am so excited to bring you my sister from the other side of the country, Kampala Rancifer, the president of the Oakland Education Association, who's going to be telling you what their association is going to be doing on May 1st. Kampala, are you here? Oh, she may not have gotten here yet. Okay, well, we'll come back. Then, Dr. Saar, you thought you had 5 more minutes, but nope. So this is such an important day for particularly organizations that are grassroots community allies working to make change. And a fabulous example of this is the Grassroots Global Justice Alliance and the African Bureau of Immigration and Social Affairs, who is led by the fabulous Dr. Sadie Saar. Sadie.
What is this?
Thank you so much. Salam alaikum, everyone. Salam alaikum, everyone. Peace be upon you and peace.
No disrespect to Africans, but why the ever-loving F are Africans organizing in America to protest America? Why can't they focus on Africa? There's plenty of problems in Africa. There's plenty of problems. Why? Maybe they'll enlighten us.
Peace be with us all together here. My name is Dr. Sadie Saar. I am calling in from Detroit.
And can I just say this too? Listen, this is going to get clipped and used against me later. I don't really care. I am getting really fucking tired of people with foreign accents that barely speak English telling Americans what to do and what to believe. I am getting so sick of it. Whether it's Africans or it's Indians or it's Mexicans or it's any Spanish speaker ever. I am getting so effing sick of listening to people with really thick accents that barely speak English telling us what to believe and what to do. Go to your own country. Fix your own country's problems. You don't belong here. No offense. I don't hate you. I don't want you to suffer. I want you to have a good and fulfilling life in your country where they speak your language, because you don't speak English, and I'm sick of this shit, and I only want to be around people who speak fucking English unless I travel to a foreign country for a trip, but then I'm choosing to be around people who don't speak English, and that's my own damn fault. In America, we should be speaking fucking English.
Michigan, right? The Motor City.
Michigan, of course.
Right? This is also where 63 and 64 happened. This is also where continuously we see Black women, Black organizers, Black mothers continuing to change and to push for change, right? This is also where we are at the border, at the northern border. I know when we talk about border work, when we talk about immigration, we often look at the southern border. But when you are in New York, when you are in Michigan, you know well what it means to be within 100 miles of a border.
Well, just so we're clear, and I say this as a very, very French person, if a French person is coming here and can barely speak English and I have to listen to oui, bonjour, all this stuff with a French accent, they can go the fuck back to France too. I don't want to listen to a French accent. I don't even want to listen to a German accent. I don't want to listen to an African accent. I sure as shit don't want to listen to an Indian accent. I absolutely do not want to listen to a Spanish accent. I don't want to listen to any accent from anyone. And I don't actually care what country they're from or what the color of their skin is. I don't want, if you do not speak, like, I'll listen to a Boston accent. A Boston accent is native to America. A Philadelphia accent is native to America. A New York accent or New Jersey, God forbid, New Jersey, they are native to America. Even Californians have a very specific accent. I'll listen to that because they all speak English as their primary language. I am so sick of this shit. Thank you, Renan. I appreciate it. And I feel like a bad person for saying it. I feel like this goes against every fiber in my being of which I was raised. But it's like, I don't think this is too much to ask. I am so sick of talking to people who don't speak English. Now I say that married to a Ukrainian, and I like, unironically, my husband does have a glorious Russian accent. I'm not talking about my husband. It just occurred to me. I'm like ranting and my husband can probably hear me. And he's like, Karlyn, I speak with a Russian accent. Okay, my husband can stay. It's hypocritical. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that it's hypocritical, but I like my husband a lot and I married him and I went through a 4-year green card process. Yeah, Judy just didn't want to say it. Okay, maybe I'm mostly talking about Indian people. I don't want to listen to Indian accents anymore. Okay, let's just move on. Yeah, Victor is the exception.
The state of Michigan.
It's not my fault Russian accents are hot, okay? That's not my... Indian ass... I swear to God, I'm going to shut up about this. Indian ass accents are not hot. African accents, not hot. Spanish accents, not hot. Russian accents, really fucking hot.
We know that being at the 100-mile border means that undocumented immigrants don't have the right to drive. And we know that driving without a license is a point for you to be deported.
Yes!
So families here are being separated for a traffic violation, which is actually a civil infraction, as well as crossing.
No, they're not being separated because of a traffic violation. They're being separated because they came here illegally. Listen to what this person just said. Oh, illegal immigrants are not allowed to get a driver's license. Well, yeah, you're a fucking illegal immigrant.
Driving without a license is a point for you to be deported. So families here are being separated for a traffic violation, which is actually a civil infraction, as well as crossing the southern border. So these things are being named, and I'm naming them because I am from Senegal, been here since 2003. I am a Black migrant. And when you talk about migrant, often the people that look like me are not the ones that are being seen. So I want to name today the fact that immigration is a Black issue. But with DGJ, what we are going to do is that we are going to talk about how we have to care for each other. We know that this May Day is just the start, and it is another start, because we have been standing strong way before election. We have been standing strong at the poll. We have been standing strong with our sisters in the continent. We have been standing strong with our sisters in the Americas. We have been talking about what it takes to create a regenerative economy instead of continuing with where we are right now with capitalism. And we have been calling into the space.
I'm sorry, what? The African immigrant wants to overthrow capitalism? Oh, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? You're talking about coming to America and then organizing in America to overthrow the system in America to create whatever fucking African system you want here? Go back to Africa. It's not about skin color. This is about people coming here to overthrow our system, admitting it, on the internet and then expecting that all of us are just going to be cool with it. Go back to Africa. Again?
How we have to care for each other. We know that this May Day is just the start, and it is another start, because we have been standing strong way before election. We have been standing strong at the poll. We have been standing strong with our sisters in the continent. We have been standing strong with our sisters in the Americas. We have been talking about what it takes to create a regenerative economy instead of continuing with where we are right now with capitalism. And we have been calling into the space what we need to do, which is caring for each other. Because we know that whoever is at the head of our states right now is not going to care for us. We know that we are responsible of making sure that we have access to healthcare, that we can buy food, that we can feed our families. We know that we are going to be responsible to ensure that education is right. So yes, to all the educators who are here, we know that repetition. So we are going to continue to educate. We are going to teach in our families. We are going to teach our communities. We are going to use languages that we can understand. We are going to use language access. We're going to make sure that we are not only adding chairs, but we are building a longer table. And in this longer table, we are going to ensure that all the values of humanity that we share together that are going to be centered around a care agenda, where we are ensuring that if I don't eat, I have to make sure that my neighbor.
You guys know what that means, right? When this African immigrant talks about a care agenda, that is an allusion to Marxism, because Marxism sees care for the collective at the center of what they're doing. This is where universal health care comes from. The whole idea of care is that you are caring for the collective when everyone has access to everything they need. That's why she just talked about overthrowing capitalism, because capitalism prevents people from getting access to everything that they need. And if we just get rid of capitalism and we install communism, everyone will have access to everything we need, and everyone will be properly cared for. That is what this person is talking about right now. You know, it's not my fault you were listening to me at the Dollar Tree and I screamed, "Go back to Africa," while you were listening to me at the Dollar Tree. It's not my fault, Kenneth.
But if you are eating, you also have to make sure that my family is not being deported.
I want to deport your family,
I stay
though.
at home in a mixed
I
status
want to
families,
deport it.
and every day I wonder if my nephew.
I would really like to deport your family, actually. I think they all should be deported. Just an FYI, Karlyn, I put you on the TV, and our 12-year-old home educated son does the Jeopardy theme tune when you count down, waiting for answers. Shout out to Amy's 12-year-old son. I need to get that programmed into like a soundboard or something.
Agenda, where we are ensuring that if I don't eat, I have to make sure that my neighbors eat. But if you are eating, you also have to make sure that my family is not being deported.
No, I don't. No, I want your family deported. I do. Very badly.
Because here, I stay at home in the mixed status families, and every day, I wonder if my nephew and nieces are going to come home.
That sucks. Not my problem.
So today, I'm calling you. We're going to go out in 2 days. We're going to be 1 million people outside. Yes, those protests are going to be safe because a lot of people that look like me have decided to stay home. Because when they show up, we know that violence is going to be brought upon us. But after we finish marching, or if we cannot march, please, locally, look at who is organizing. Look at all those smart grassroots organizations. Look at who is get their funding cut off because the federal government cut the fund.
You are not entitled to our money.
Find out who is being hacked and donate your knowledge. Find out who need to write letters and policy and sit down in their living room and do that for them. Find out who need to drive undocumented migrant to work and offer your car for transportation. Find out who needs to go to an ICE checking and go with them to an ICE checking. Donate 2 or 3 hours of your time and sit in a hotline. And do this until we save our democracy.
It's not your
Do this
democracy. You're from
until
Africa.
you know that you and your neighbors and the neighbor of your neighbors are continuously having a smile in their face. Because that's what it's going to take for us to ensure that this democracy that is actually running away from us is being saved by the people. So let us all right now to continue to center that, center care, center your neighbor, give them a smile, ask them what they need, and just do that. Open your door.
You don't go here.
Because that's the only way we are going to ensure that our care agenda is going to stand and that we are going to be able to sustain this movement as we continue to move along. Everybody is needed. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being 2000 strong. Thank you for everybody who spoke before. Organize, 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 organize. Thank you, Ramona.
Thank you, Dr. Sar. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was
Just
stunning and brave and
beautiful.
amazing. Yeah.
So I know
true.
there are so many working families out here. And I actually saw a note in the chat about how we hadn't mentioned creative professionals. And I think creatives can change the world. I am an artist and a dancer myself. And in the arts, in performance, the place of honor is the last spot. And so today, the place of honor goes to the National Director of the Working Families Party, Maurice
Socialists.
Ramona, thank you so much. The honor is mine. And if people in the chat could give it up to Ramona for holding us down and for weaving all of our stories together and for so beautifully.
Working Families Party is a socialist political party, but they've actually had some success with getting people elected in Philadelphia and New Jersey specifically that I know of, but they're very far left.
Being able to MC us and bring us through the night. Thank you so much, Ramona, for your organizing. Thank you so much for your work. And thank you, everybody on the call. My name is Maurice Mitchell. I'm the National Director of the Working Families Party. The Working Families Party is a grassroots, bottom-up political party. And we believe in this crazy idea that in a democracy, the people should govern, not corporations, not billionaires, not the 1%, but in a democracy, the people should govern. How many of you are familiar with the chant, "The people united can never be defeated"?
The people united
How many
will never be defeated.
Can recall that chant? Well, slow it down for a second, because sometimes we just say it because it's rote, but slow it down.
Rote.
The people united can never be defeated. It isn't simply a chant. It is a historical lesson about the power of working people in this country and throughout the world. Not too long ago, people of African descent, our bodies and our labor
here we go.
were stolen in this country. It was through a labor struggle of Black people that we resisted bondage, and we were able to overcome and defeat slavery and emancipated ourselves through that labor struggle. Not too long ago in this country, there were children working in coal mines. There were people who were working themselves to death. There were people working in near subsistence at a time when the wealthy only got wealthier. There was a time where there wasn't a 40-hour workday or a 5-day week. Those were the results of labor struggle.
40-hour workday.
Those were the results of people uniting against the very powerful, against the robber barons, against the corporations, sometimes linked up with the police to knock our heads in, sometimes linked up with the federal government and the state government and the local government. And there were people who said, this is impossible. There is no way. Imagine our enslaved ancestors. There wasn't an apparent way, but we made a way because the people united can never be defeated. I want to thank the organizers for inviting me to speak today because we're up against a mighty opponent. We're up against the power of the oligarchy, the power of concentrated wealth and money, the power of the wealthiest person in the world, the power of the president and the power of the president trying to use the levers of the federal government against the people. I want to speak plainly by the fact that that is intense power. That is intense power. And I might be deterred. My head might be bowed. I might let fear and despair get the best of me if I did not know the historical truth that the people united can never be defeated. That chant doesn't say the people united may often win, or the people united have a chance, or the people united can sometimes beat Goliath. It says the people united can never be defeated. It is prophetic. It is a historical truth. It is scientific because we have the receipts again and again and again. When the people unite against any foe, we can never be defeated. But also, when the people are divided across race, across gender, across ethnicity, across issues, when the people are divided, then oftentimes we always fall folly to the tricks of the 1% and the billionaires and the corporations. So herein is the prophetic truth, but also the challenge of the day. How can we, through our solidarity, not allow them to divide us as working people? Because of course we have differences. Of course we have differences. But how do we not let those differences become wedges against us at a critical juncture in our people's history when we need to be more united as ever? May 1st, May Day. We have two sacred holidays, May Day and Labor Day. They're the most sacred holidays because those are the 2 days for the workers. On May Day, we have an opportunity, a historical obligation, a sacred obligation to unite and not divide, to come together like never before in our lived experience as working people across all divides, united, so that we may never, ever be defeated. And this has to be a sustained movement. This must be a sustained movement. This won't be an event. This will be a movement. This is not just a resistance. This is an opposition because oppositions are built to win. And win we will and win we must.
Wow.
This is our duty. This means that everybody on this call cannot be a spectator. We can't simply be spectators. Our jobs are to be agents of change. Do not ask for permission. Do not expect permission. And do not expect saviors. The only ones who could save us is us. The only ones who could save us is us. Remember the dark days of COVID, when the hedge fund managers and the bosses and the CEOs were sheltered in place behind the locked doors of their estates, and the workers continued to work, the sanitation workers and the teachers and the healthcare workers and the delivery workers and the restaurant workers continued to work. What did we learn? We learned that if the CEOs and the bosses and the hedge fund managers, if they went on strike today, we would not miss them. We would not miss them for a day, for a week, or a month.
Wow.
But if the sanitation workers went on strike for one day, this country would stop in its tracks. If the nurses went on strike for one day, this country would stop in its tracks.
He's acting like no one that could work virtually actually worked during the pandemic, and it was just the people who had to go to their jobs that worked during the pandemic. He's saying, you know what, we proved it. They weren't working at all during the pandemic. They were sitting on their asses at home. No, they were working, dude. They were working. They just weren't working in the same way that you were.
If the teachers went on strike for one day, this country will stop in its tracks. What we learned that we can never forget is that the true power of this economy, of this society, has always and will always rest with the workers and with the teachers.
Yeah.
Let's manifest
Julian,
that
real,
on May 1st.
real.
That is our job. And then afterwards, let's build the mightiest, broadest, most diverse social movement for democracy and for liberation in our nation's history and our people's history. Let's get it done.
Mm. Yeah,
let's hear it for Mo Mitchell.
They were all asking them to stay home.
Some knowledge. I have goosebumps.
You're right.
That was what an incredible lineup. Please show some love in the chat for all the speakers.
Oh, good.
My name is Sakib Bhatti. I'm the executive director of Bargaining for the Common Good, and I have the unenviable task of trying to wrap us up after Mo. We just heard what all these kick-ass leaders are throwing down on May Day. Now we want to hear from you. So on your phones, computers, tablets, go to menti.com, menti.com, and enter the code 22348580. Can we put that on the screen, please, if you go to the Menti page? So if you go there, we want you to go there and write down who or what you're marching for on May Day, right? So go to menti.com, menti.com, enter the code 22348580, and write down who or what you're marching for on May Day. We'll take just a few seconds to do this. And Ollie, can we see the word cloud as responses start coming in? Thank you. So democracy, immigrants, freedom, human rights. Loving it. Right. Justice. Oh, the screen's too small. Here we go. Okay. Due process, healthcare, right? We're fighting for all these different reasons, right? And each and every one of these reasons behind it, there are real lives that actually matter, right?
I'll talk about that when
we're going to be
over.
marching for all of these reasons. This May Day, we're going to stand up and tell the billionaire oligarchs that we've had enough. They're disappearing immigrants off the streets and sending them to concentration camps. They're attacking critical programs that families depend on, like Medicaid and Social Security, to line their own pockets. They're coming for our kids' schools and libraries. They're killing Palestinians in Gaza and kidnapping Palestinians in Colombia. They think we're just going to sit there and take it, but they're dead wrong, right? They can't have business as usual while they're lighting fires in our communities.
Wow.
This Thursday, we're going to turn out in one of the largest peacefully coordinated worker-led mobilizations in the history of our country. Right. University of California workers with AFSCME Local 3299 are going on strike this May Day, all up and down the state.
University of California workers are going on strike tomorrow. Can we try to find their website for that? Excuse me, what?
The Oakland teachers are going on strike this May Day.
Oh,
right?
Great.
There'll be no business as usual.
The teachers are going on strike.
We're not going to stop on May 1st, right? We're just getting started.
Oh,
we're
yeah?
going to throw down for the Global Day of Action for Tesla Takedown this Saturday. We're going to meet again next week on May 8th to talk about our next steps, right? So join us for a call on Thursday, May 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can recap and celebrate this historic mobilization and also chart our path forward, right? We're going to talk about how we can organize in our communities and our workplaces to keep up the pressure on the billionaires and corporate villains. We're going to talk about opportunities for scenario planning and popular education. We're going to talk about future actions and mobilizations. The billionaires need to see that we're not backing down and that the movement against them is only getting bigger and bigger. You can register for the May 8th call at bit.ly/Mayday Debrief. You can sign on to become a Mayday Strong Partner organization at bit.ly/Mayday Partner. Toolkits and press kits for local and national media are available in both English and Spanish at bit.ly/Mayday Toolkit. We have nearly 1,300 actions planned in all 50 states and over 1,000 cities and towns. This is likely the largest number of places in the US marching simultaneously since Mayday began in the 1800s. If there isn't an action plan in your community, please sign up to host one. You can do that at maydaystrong.org. There's lots of resources and the toolkits to actually really guide you along the way for how to make it happen. If you haven't yet, you can RSVP for existing events also at maydaystrong.org. And while you're out there on Thursday and over the weekend, we want you to take photos and videos and post them to social media with the two hashtags that Ramona shared earlier, right? Hashtag Mayday Strong and hashtag Mayday 2025. And we're actually gonna try this out right now. So everyone, please grab your phones and take a photo of yourself and post it on social media, telling your friends that you're going to be turning out on Mayday and asking them to join you. And please use the Mayday Strong and Mayday 2025 hashtags and include the maydaystrong.org link in your post to help spread the word about the actions. Right? There's going to be an ongoing need for a united, pro-immigrant, pro-Black, anti-racist working class politics in this country. Not only will workers and communities stop Trump and the billionaire agenda, we have the power to build a fair and just society. People are mad as hell that Trump is giving the country over to billionaires like venture capitalist Mark Andreessen, who's out there openly saying that the goal is to crash wages. Right? I'm from Chicago. Our governor recently said that it's time to make the rich pay. I agree. It's budget season in state houses all across the country, and there's no time like the present to make billionaires pay. Right? We'll plan on holding follow-up meetings to discuss specifics, including regional organizing trainings at a national convening. We want to encourage local groups to hold an in-person coalition meeting in the next couple of weeks after the actions to keep up the momentum. May 1st is really a structure test. As the authoritarian forces get even stronger and bolder, we're going to have to come together as one all across the country to fight for our rights and our people and to make the billionaires pay. We need to show them that we're Mayday Strong on May 1st. So invite all your friends and neighbors, bring your families, and come make good trouble with us this Thursday. The actions will be peaceful, nonviolent, and family-friendly. The past 100 days have really been something else. We've been inundated with attacks. They want to overwhelm us. They want us to feel powerless. The only way forward is for us to come together and fight for a world in which all of us can prosper and thrive. That's what Mayday is all about, and we're so grateful to be building this movement with all of you. Thanks, everyone, and see you in the streets in 2 days.
Wow. Is that it? Is that the end of the video? That looks like it's the end of the video. Well, holy shit, guys. Holy shit. Now, Fender Bean asked earlier, what do you think the response should be to this? I mean, what I would like the response to be is that any public employee that participates in organizing this type of thing, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like they shouldn't be working for the government. And maybe that's a free speech issue. I don't know. But like, can Trump do some sort of executive order where government employees are not allowed to protest the government? Because like, here's the thing. If you protested your employer and your employer was a private employer, you would get fired. That's what happened. You guys remember when, what was it? Was it Microsoft or Amazon? There were like, the socialists were protesting at either Microsoft or Amazon, and they took over like a CEO office or something like that. This was like maybe a year ago. And do you know what happened? They got fired. And it's kind of like, why are government employees allowed to protest the government? This makes no sense. We are paying their salary. They are there they are there to serve at our fucking pleasure. Why are they protesting? They should not have the right to free speech in this regard. Trump should challenge this in the Supreme Court. Like, I know for a fact that teachers don't have free speech in the classroom. You can absolutely restrict what teachers say in the classroom. So why can't they restrict government employees from protesting the government that's literally paying their salary? I don't know, man. Like, M. Ritchie over on Rumble, thank you for the $5. I voted for deportations and an end to grift. This is what I voted for. Well, you're not getting deportations, and you're certainly not. I don't even know what you mean by an end to grift. That doesn't even make. I mean, thank you for the money. I appreciate the money, but I don't know what you mean by that at all in any way. And you're certainly not getting deportations. You think Trump is deporting people? Trump is barely deporting people. Trump isn't even deporting as many people as Biden was. So I want every and actually, by the way, that brings me to another point. I want every fucking illegal immigrant involved in any of these things deported like now. I want Trump to stop dicking around with this anti-Semitism bullshit, and he should be targeting the illegals that are organizing these protests. Because I promise you, there are a lot of illegals that are organizing these protests. They're organizing a fucking uprising against the government. There is no reason for them to be here. They are literally organizing an uprising against the government. We literally just heard one of them talking about it. They can go the fuck away. They should be target number one. I don't give a fuck about the college student. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care about the college student that went to a pro-Palestine protest that is here legally with a green card saying things that Israel doesn't like. I would like the illegals organizing the nationwide movement to uprise against the government. I would like Trump to focus on them. I think that that's what should be done. I don't know. But of course, they're not going to do anything because that's the world we live in. So guys, my inclination tomorrow is normally on Thursdays, we do Counter-Revolutionary Book Club. And my inclination tomorrow is that I think I want to keep an eye on the protests and probably end up not doing Counter-Revolutionary Book Club tomorrow. Because I think we're probably going to have live streams from protests to watch, but we're going to keep an eye on it and see. We could still do Counter-Revolutionary Book Club. And this is a perfect time, by the way, to get caught up on Counter-Revolutionary Book Club if you haven't already. Counter-Revolutionary Book Club is a podcast that I do. You can head over to the Substack, Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. Click on the book club link in the top, and we're basically working our way through some of the most radical and dystopian leftist documents, and we're reading them and we're analyzing them. We're currently working our way through a book called Queer Anarchism. And so we had to miss last week's episode because I was doing the male supremacism conference. And so we might skip over tomorrow just because I think there's going to be a lot of good protest coverage. But that means this is a perfect time for you guys to get caught up. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find the reading list over on the website. You can actually download all the documents and read them. Or you can come to the podcast and read with us. We are currently working on, where is it? Not gender nihilism. That's next. We're currently working on Queering Anarchism, which is a whole book of essays. We got a long way to go with that one, so there'll probably be several more episodes. So if you want to pick up there, go ahead and do it. We've also done some other documents that are really, really interesting. And usually we do a live recording on Thursdays, but we're not doing it this week because we're doing this. Because it is May Day. It is the start of protest season. And that's the way it goes. Guys, if you enjoyed the stream today, I stream Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you'll come back to the stream, especially if you're new. I will show you the craziest shit on the left that you never even knew were happening. We also do Saturdays for Socialism Saturdays at 6 p.m., so an hour later than normal. And if you want to support the work I'm doing, head over to the Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com, and sign up for a membership of $8 a month, $80 a year. That will get you access to Spy Stream. You can find the on-demand spy stream that we did earlier today. You're also going to be able to join us for the spy stream we're doing on Friday. Oh, by the way, we might actually be doing a spy stream tomorrow too, which I think might be a public spy stream, depending. So we might actually be doing a spy stream tomorrow too. I have to wait and get more. I have to get more information on that before I officially commit to it. So that's all I have. I've been streaming since 2 p.m., 2:30, something like that. I'm going to go relax now and do other things, and I will be back tomorrow, and we'll be monitoring May Day protests all over the country, and come commiserate with us in the insanity. All right, guys, that is all I have for tonight. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Could you give me some idea?
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them. I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do, and this influences my thinking and consequently my action.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.